Hey guys, so let's talk about what we've learned about measurement. We've learned how to measure length, which is how long something is from one end to the other. And we've also learned how to measure things for length in a straight line, such as this button and this pen. Now, what we're going to do today is learn how can we measure things that maybe aren't in a straight line, because we know how to measure these kind of things, like we've been using cubes and paper clips and things like that, and we just line up along the edge and see how long the object is, right? Just like that. But there are some objects that aren't straight lines and are going to be a little bit trickier to measure. So how can we do that? Well, let me show you. So I'm going to take these away, move these over and show you what I'm talking about. So I have this little octopus toy, okay? And I want to measure how long one of its legs are. Well, how do I measure this when it's not a straight line? Well, let me show you. We call this the string method, or in this case, I'm going to use a pipe cleaner. And so how you're going to do this is you're still going to measure we're going to use measuring cubes here in just a second. But what I'm going to do is if I want to measure this guy, I'm going to line up the tip of my pipe cleaner at the beginning of the leg, and I'm going to curve this around the leg. And if you have string or a straw, things like that at home, that works too. I don't know if you can see that, but I've put the pipe cleaner along the line of the leg. Okay. And so it stops about here. So I'm going to hold my thumb here to show how long the leg is. It's this it's this long, okay? So now I want to see how long that is. So I'm going to move octopus over here, and I'm going to keep my finger right here so I remember where my legs stop. And I'm going to measure this, and I'm going to straighten this out and measure using cubes. So one, it's going to be hard to do one-handed. 2, 3, 4. Wow, this is really difficult doing one-handed. All right. And then I won't have enough to go all the way to my finger. So this is about 4 cubes long, is the length of one of these octopus arms. I was still able to measure it even though it wasn't a straight line. What I did is I used part of this pipe cleaner or part of a string and sorry, kind of got jumbled in. And I made it follow along the line of the tentacle, and then I measured this is how much of the pipe cleaner I had to use. Then I straightened it out and measured it using the cubes. Now, the reason that this works is because I'm still measuring it, but instead of going in a straight line with the cubes, because I'm not going to be able to accurately get the cubes in there perfectly to make it measure the length. So that was going to be too tricky. But what I did is I still measured the length of the leg, but just used this instead, and then measured this when I could straighten it out. And that totally worked, right? Now, let's try another example. All right, I have my computer cord, okay? And it's kind of a weird, wonky ring, or not ring, what am I trying to say? Round curve shape. So I want to measure how long it is from the tip to about right here, okay? Actually, maybe more like here. I don't have that much pipe cleaner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pipe cleaner, I'm going to start at the tip, and I'm going to curve it around and see about how long it's going to be. All right, now my pipe cleaner stopped here, so let's say I'm going to measure it to here, okay? So I see my cord starts from here and loops around to here. So then I can move this curvy guy out of the way, take my pipe cleaner, straighten them out, and now I can measure in a straight line like we've been doing. So I'm going to put these cubes together, and let's see how many cubes long that cord was. Okay, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's try this. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So about 15 cubes long was about how long my cord was from one end to the other. Now I could have straightened this out perfectly fine, but let's say it was curved like this all the time and I couldn't. The reason I use a pipe cleaner is that I could still measure it exactly the length, but in a way that's a lot easier because it's easier to measure in a straight line, not in a curvy line, because sometimes it's hard to get all the units and they're exactly right. So today, you guys are going to practice that in Seesaw, measuring curvy objects or curvy lines, and then using a string or something like that to measure how long the length is.